Welcome to Dipito.
The Dipito Let's Talk Crypto Show.
How are you
Enjoy
doing,
your
sir?
crypto.
Oh, I'm loving the hat. Very nice.
Thank you. Yeah,
Very
Busted
cool.
Tees. If you want to get your own, go to Busted Tees. I've been exploring different crypto swag places because I really want some Dipito swag. Like I am hell bent on finding a good source of that. So that's what I stay up late at night doing.
We need to create some Dipito swag for sure.
We do. We need some Dipito. Enjoy crypto stuff.
So my friend, would you like to tell the audience our little surprise that we got for him tonight?
That I'm here in studio.
Yeah.
Yes, I know. So I am here in studio, kind of a surprise to me, and I'm sure everybody out there watching, all the Dipitoers, our Dipitoers. So here's what's been going on in my life, though. First off, let's talk about how I'm here today. I was driving home at night. It's about 11:30 yesterday, and I went to go hit my brakes on the freeway because there was a semi truck in front of me, and it was making some janky moves, and I was like, "Oh, not today." So all of a sudden, I hit them. They squealed, and then they went metal on metal.
Mm.
Dear God, dude, like my tire, the whole side. I'm like, oh gosh. So I'm trying to pump. I'm on a hill, by the way. And I'm trying to like just pump and like soften. And I'm like, right, like if I could have gone to my knees in that moment and been like, okay, Jesus,
Please, Jesus, help
instant,
me.
yeah.
Jesus, take the wheel.
Yeah, 1-800 Heavenly Angels. Can I help you? Yeah. Yes, I need Jesus right now. I need Jesus right now. Hey, Jesus was there. Saved my butt. So anyways, so basically I had some brake issues. As it turned out, I had lost a caliper bolt. So your caliper goes around the rotor there, and your pads are on each side, just like your bike back in the day, right?
Yeah.
Well, the bolt that mounts your brake there, one of two, was gone. That was not good. So what was actually ended up happening, which again, this is the Jesus moment. So I had my top caliper bolt in, the bottom one was gone. So the rotation of tires was the opposite way. So every time I broke, the bottom would kick out and go into the rim. And that was my metal on metal. I didn't find that out till like this morning, finding everything. So yeah, there's a big groove in the rim. Like it's
we know we're live.
Yeah, we know we're live. Duh. Gotta be, my man. Gotta be, love, gotta be, BB. So that is that's what led me to today. I had to find parts to fix my truck so I could make it to work tomorrow. So since I'm kind of just stuck waiting for some parts to come in, I can be live here for the whole show without pulling some tricks that I may or may not do while I am on the job.
Which is fantastic. Yes. So I want to say hello to the 17 people that are in here tonight. We've, of course, we have our special guest, Patrick L. Riley, coming back. We got Rosemary, Tiara, Optimistic Prime, Gotta Be is in here. Our friend Trini's in here, Boone's in here. India,
star-studded audience right now. This is amazing.
Sure and so we're super excited to bring Patrick back. For those of you that watched last week's show, Patrick did a deep dive on Reaper Financial and his Reaper token and the reaping of the debt. And we kind of went deep into that. And I don't know about anybody else, but I've watched it a couple of times. And I have a couple of follow-up questions for him on that. But tonight we're going to talk about the Ascension Index and the different phases and what that is. And so how about we get Patrick in here, Simon?
Come on, Patrick.
There he is.
Patrick, how's it going?
Good. How are you? Good to have you back.
Doing great.
Perfect.
I'm so glad Simon could actually spend a night with us.
I know, right? I'm like, it's like my troubles are outside, but I get super awesomeness being here in studio
Yeah.
with
Right.
you guys. Yes. So thank you, Patrick.
Thankfully, no injuries happened. So
yeah, no injuries and still drivable. So I'm still here to do the good work that the good Lord put me here to do and make a little cash on the side.
exactly.
Absolutely.
Before we start dipping our toe into the Ascension Index, I was listening back, and there were a couple of questions that I had that I wanted to circle back real quick on the Reaper token, if you don't mind.
Of course not.
And so number one, as we discussed last week, not only are you earning a drip of XRP with your Reaper tokens, you're also able to put earnings towards reaping your own debt or burning tokens. And what popped into my mind was a conversation that Simon and I had several months ago. And that is with taxes. Is there any recording or reporting in regards to tax, any of the income that we're earning on the Reaper token, whether it be through XRP or the cash going towards reaping of the debt? I'm curious how that is addressed, and curious how that's addressed.
Yeah, sure. So that's a totally fair question. Now, of course, we are not tax consultants, and I'm not a tax attorney.
You don't even look like it, not even close.
Yeah, Fred put up his question whether he should wear a tie or not, and I said he looks like an attorney when he wears tie, so I made sure I didn't. But yeah, so really what it comes down to in the U.S., as far as my jurisdiction in Texas, is that you're taxed when you withdraw to the U.S. dollar, not necessarily while you are in a digital asset and receiving a digital asset or trading to another digital asset. It's that actual realized profit would be what is taxable. So if you are pulling your XRP drip that you're receiving every 2 weeks out, then whatever you've made on that per the year, that would be income, and you would be liable for taxation on that income. Of course, that depends on you and your specific situation, whether you're married or single, whether you're past certain tax brackets, whether you've paid into taxes from your primary employer, and whether that passive XRP drip is substantial enough to affect your tax bracket at all. The other side to that is the debt. So the debt is not going to you. It is business to business, paid from Reaper Financial directly to the debtor account or the liability with the bank. So you should not have any liability in that regard, but I do advise you to speak to your own CPA and your own tax advisors and get clarity on that situation, as it could be different in different jurisdictions.
Yeah. So you're actually paying, the payment is actually coming from Reaper Financial, not Melissa, right? You're paying for it on our behalf. And so then I suppose there could be like a cancellation of debt type where they would try to say you owed tax, but I guess there hasn't we don't have clarity around that at this time. So
yep, there's no clarity on that, but I will advise that anybody who's not familiar with the way that you can leverage debt to stay out of tax burdens, this is basically what every rich person does. People like Mark Zuckerberg, Jeff Bezos, they go out and they take liabilities, take loans against their stock portfolio, their shares in their own company as collateral, and then they get that paid off over time. But in that, they have made absolutely nothing technically legally. And that's how Amazon does it. That's how Facebook does it. That's how all the big billionaires keep their money. So when you're talking about debt reaping, this is a scenario where you shouldn't have a tax liability. But again, you're going to have to get that validated within your jurisdiction by your own CPA, your own tax lawyer, if you use one. But if you haven't read it already, go out and read Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. And that will walk you through how you can use debt and leverage debt to stay out of a tax burden and also attain wealth. Debt can be an asset, not just a liability.
Amen. Good answer. Thank you for clearing that.
God, that was a grand slam. Let's quit playing games here. Come on, man. That was fire.
All right. So, all right,
sorry,
and then
sorry.
I've got two more. I got two more, and I want to say hello to my friend Toasty's in here. How you doing, Toasty? Thanks for coming. All right. So the other question is, I've kind of associated, friend of a friend, who has a Web3 security auditing company. I don't know if you're familiar with the folks at FYEO. I think her name is Tammy Khan. Anyway, she talks about a lot of these projects that are starting up. If they're auditing their auditing their code and that sort of thing. And I'm just curious if you guys use any kind of auditing company, and if you do, how often, and do you make those reports public?
So we have not yet done pen testing, and pen testing, for those who don't know, is penetration testing, basically to look for the vulnerabilities in the reaping protocol. Now, what we are basically waiting for is the final end-to-end finalization of how that system will work. So we have a few different systems working together here, to include Played as a partner, Veravend as a partner, the debt reaping application, and the XRPL ledger. And for something to get through any one of those is very difficult, but we will certainly be doing a deep penetration testing as we are happy with the final end-to-end product.
Gotcha. All right, so it's in the works. It's something that you think is a valuable thing that people should be doing. But you have to make sure everything's how you want it to actually test something. All right.
Yeah, and just to kind of clarify on why we're waiting on that, for anyone that's wondering, like, oh, okay, it's great to say it's in the works, right? But the reason we're waiting is because there is a cost associated to any of those audits, any of that pen testing. So it's a very serious step, and it has to be treated as a final step in the development process.
That makes sense. And then my final question is, can you decide to change the way that you're distributing these things? Right, like we spoke about, when you're selling the tokens, and then it's so much goes to here and so much goes to there. Can you decide in the future how it's distributed? Like, can you change it? And if so, how is that done? Is that done through a vote, or is that at the company level that decision gets made?
Yeah. So currently, those things are fluid. We could change them if we chose to do so. We would only do so if it was in the best interest of the RPR token holder. But in the future, as we go to automation, and we are looking at only Arweave for potential permanent cloud hosting, that would be a decentralized hosting that cannot be taken down, along with automations, in which at some point we will finalize this model. We will basically rubber stamp it and say this is going to live on forever as it is, and we will no longer be doing the protocol ourselves or be able to adjust that distribution. That would simply be set in stone, and we would be selling as a company the possible use cases of the token, but the token itself would live with or without us.
Gotcha. Perfect. Well, those were my questions that I thought, and I'm like, before we moved forward, I just wanted to get those out there. I want to say hello to Curly Bill, that just popped in, and Sam. Sam actually has a question. How about changing it so uncirculated do receive rewards?
I'm not sure what he means by uncirculated receiving rewards. Currently, the RPR token holdings by Atum Industries, those do receive the XRP drip, but they are unable to vote. They can't vote on tokens and they can't vote to reap debt. The only way that we would ever adjust that is if RPR was purchased by a company within Atum Industries from market into a different wallet that was not the initially issued dev wallet for the purpose of using it for debt reaping. But that's currently not in the works.
Okay. And that's kind of going, that's kind of farther. That's not in the works now. And we're at the bottom. We're way above the floor level.
Yeah.
It's got this pretty built out. But we're still developing and making crossing every T and dotting every I at this point.
Yep, absolutely. And in the future, it might make sense for us to kind of be our own best customer, and we would be purchasing and utilizing our own tokens and our own assets for the company's health. But that's not going to happen with any of the initial company tokens that we did not purchase off market.
Okay. That's kind of what XRP does too, right? When they're
it's a similar model. Yep.
Yeah. All right. Simon, do you have any lasting questions on the Reaper? Or I was so excited to learn about this Ascension project.
No questions. I know we Patrick alluded to Ascension during the last last live stream, and I'm interested to hear more about it because it sounded like Ascension was a way or being incorporated somehow to help reinforce the bottom and of the price point. Some kind of a new floor in a way. Am I understanding that correctly?
So that's actually a different project. That's Pillars that does the
Pillars.
Damn.
Yep. That's next week's show. Darn it.
Build in Pillars of Strength. Yep. That's
right. Gotcha. Okay, cool. Well, there you go. I'm glad we cleared that up.
No worries.
Well, I would like to move on to, and again, I want to welcome everybody who's here tonight. We have 37 folks in here that are chomping at the bit to learn more about the Ascension Index project. And I heard that you may have an announcement and a special little thing. So to reveal that you said that you were going to talk about on this show. So I'm going to let you, Patrick, kind of give us the overview of the Ascension and then reveal what you would like to reveal on your own time.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. So what I'd like to do is kind of walk through each of the phases until we get to what we're looking to reveal here. And it's not so much an announcement as it is a reveal, but I am definitely looking forward to this. And it's very relative to what's coming on June 8th, as well as the debate I just did on Flat Earth with Austin.
I was so gonna watch that. I was like, oh, dude, don't do that because I'll take this off the rails so fast. If I was like, don't watch that. Say that for later. But go ahead.
That's gonna be it's gonna be a living topic into the future because we are related to space-based technology. So it's something that I feel it's fair to address the concerns of people who do view the Earth as a potentially flat plane or a global plane. So, if you're looking for my views on that, when you're watching this interview, go out and look for that interview with Austin Whitsitt, where I went back and forth with him for a couple hours on it and shared my reasoning why I'm able to pursue this space-based technology that we're going to get to. But without further ado, I guess I'll start with phase one and what Ascension is. So Ascension is similar to Reaper Financial. and using a similar Riley economic system where we mint 1 million tokens per month, which are sold onto market, split every 2 weeks. And with that sale, we generate funds that we then action the utility of Ascension token. The utility of Ascension token is once again voting, but instead of voting on what you want to destroy, as with Reaper, it's debts or tokens, you're voting on what you want to receive. So in this case, 60% of funds generated go out and purchase based on the votes of token holders, and 40% goes into a permanent rain fund, which is similar to the permanent drip fund that creates a floor backing for Ascension and a bottom price, which is going to rise every 2 weeks in regards to Ascension token or ASC. So now the rain that we offer currently, I haven't actually counted these. I think it's 17 different tokens, but we have Pillars, Zoj, which is not an Atum Industries token. We have AAU, which is Ascension Aurum. I'll get to that in a little bit here. Solo, which is Sologenic, the largest altcoin on the XRP ledger currently. It's not going to stay there for long, but it's there. Xstick, which is a partner of ours who works on NFTs and has some of the most outstanding art of any NFT project ever. We have Corium, which is a layer 1 partner of Sologenic. Ascension itself, X-Spectre, which is a metaverse project on the XRP ledger. We have Wrapped Litecoin, which is a high liquidity layer 1, of course. Ascension Argentum, which again I'll get to with Ascension Aurum. We have Box, which is a separate Atum Industries project built on XRP.com. We have Arcan Institute. We have Wrapped Bitcoin, which is our second high liquidity. We have Xquake, which is a charitable project on the XRP ledger. We have Wrapped Ethereum, Reaper, StakeX, which is a staking or decentralized staking platform on the XRP ledger. That is again a partner. Treasury, which is a partner that works specifically on education and will pay you, or you can earn to learn about cryptocurrency. And Schmeckles, which is a fund meme token and another partner of ours. So between those 17 assets, you can vote on whichever it is you like to receive. And with whatever it is you've voted for right now, you're receiving all 17 assets based on the number of votes that they get. So it's simply by holding Ascension and having those trust lines, every 2 weeks, we're going to send you some of all of those, including Bitcoin, including Ethereum, including Litecoin, including AAU and AAG, which is gold and silver. And that's kind of the next phase, where phase 2 was our high liquidity layer 1 blockchain. So not many projects out there will actually pay you Bitcoin, pay you Litecoin, pay you Ethereum. Almost every scam that's going to pop up under a crypto post might try to tell you you can earn one of those somehow. We are not a scam, and we are actually paying these, and we've been doing so for a year and a half regularly. And it's sent you every 2 weeks based on votes. Now,
Can I ask you a question? Can you explain for the dipitoers out there that may not know, what does it mean when a coin is wrapped, like the wrapped Bitcoin, wrapped Litecoin, that sort of thing?
So these are Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Litecoin that GateHub holds in its basically its exchange, and GateHub issues a wrapped Bitcoin, Ethereum, or Litecoin, which means one wrapped Bitcoin equals one unwrapped Bitcoin, but they have pegged it against that, and they've issued it as a token on the XRP ledger. Now, the reason we're sending it out as a wrapped Bitcoin, Ethereum, or Litecoin is because it costs a fraction of a penny and 3 to 5 seconds to do so on the XRP ledger. Whereas if we sent the actual Bitcoin, actual Ethereum, actual Litecoin, then that's going to cost significantly more. It's going to take potentially weeks if it's Bitcoin. We do intend to add the functionality of sending the true to chain layer 1 blockchains in the future. but right now it would not make sense to do so, as it would be very costly and very slow until the value of Ascension or the value of those tokens reflects the cost of sending and the time to send it.
So so then they get sent the wrapped, say it's wrapped Bitcoin. Then do they have to pay to unwrap it if they wanted to send it to on chain? Then is that how that would work?
So
It would
they
be
have-
stored. It was stored in a wallet that housed wrapped Bitcoin, and as long as you don't want to move it or anything, you're just holding it anyway. It's no big deal. But
Yep.
then when you want to move it on chain, then it would have to be unwrapped, right, and then sent.
That's correct. So to unwrap it, you would send it into your GateHub account, and on GateHub you would pay whatever transaction fee they have associated to unwrap that wrapped Bitcoin. However, if you just want to hold it in the wrapped Bitcoin on your XRP Ledger wallet, then, and I would advise doing that because frankly, it's much cheaper to do it that way.
Yeah.
But the price of that wrapped Bitcoin is going to reflect the price of Bitcoin. So if the price of Bitcoin goes up, you're still going to get that value out of that wrapped Bitcoin as well, so long as GateHub doesn't lose their peg.
Can I ask you two smart people when it comes to this stuff? Is there, and this is just a question I'm throwing out there, is there any advantage to having, besides the fact that it's cheaper to send a wrapped Bitcoin? Is there any added layer of security of sorts because a Bitcoin is wrapped sitting in a wallet that's or I don't know, is there any benefit other than the fact that it's cheap to send it to have a wrapped Bitcoin?
Yeah, I'll let Simon answer that. It looks like he wants to throw in.
For simple terms, all your value that you're wondering about, any extra benefit there, depends on the network. So if arguably the XRPL is more secure than the Bitcoin network, faster, cheaper, etc., then that would be an intrinsic value to wrap your Bitcoin on the XRPL or some other network. So if some other network has far superior security overall, and it's been tested time and time again, then essentially you could do that, yes. But I'm sure Patrick has a far more advanced explanation than I just gave right there.
Well, so I would say that the primary advantage is that it's cheap and it's fast, and you can liquidate that wrapped Bitcoin into XRP, which can then be sent very quickly anywhere.
Right.
The disadvantage is you are reliant on GateHub maintaining that peg, and you are reliant on them to not get hacked. And in that way, there is an additional vulnerability to it, as opposed to if you did exchange it for the physical, not physical, but the genuine layer 1 Bitcoin and sent that Bitcoin into a hardware wallet.
Gotcha.
That would be the more secure.
Yeah. I like Rosemary's idea. She swaps it for XRP.
I don't disagree.
So a question, since we're kind of talking about wrapping, Patrick, all the 17 coins or coin/tokens that you mentioned there, it sounds like this is a really good opportunity from my perspective for a component of DeFi by holding, just the native coins here, your Ascension or Reaper, arguably, because you're receiving other tokens or airdrops, and then you could essentially, if you wanted to, find some other way to compound that elsewhere or just within that ecosystem itself. Correct?
Exactly. And to quote Warren Buffett, compound interest is the 8th wonder of the world. So
damn right it is. Yeah.
Yep. So in this system, you could receive multiple different assets, and all of those assets had their own use cases as well, some of which are, again, receiving other assets, some of which are the same, some of which, if you, for example, were to receive ARC also pays out Ascension and Reaper. If you're receiving Reaper, you're receiving XRP. If you're receiving Treasury, there's an associated Utilitex token that can be received for holding Treasury. So all of these have different ways of compounding and taking advantage. And I think JTXRP, who's actually in the audience, did a great video on this about the 7-layer passive income. So that's basically you can turn this into a compounding interest machine. JTXRP.
Oh,
JPXRP. Okay. For a minute, for just a brief moment, I thought you said JT Automations. I don't. Yeah, there is JTXRP. I was like, no way, he's in here right now. But no, that's great.
yeah, we're gonna have to
that
follow his channel. I didn't know he had a channel. Good, awesome.
Yep.
All right, 17 coins. I like that number.
Yep. And so now I do want to back up because I did skip over a little bit of the dip a toe part. So now the reason we do this, the reason that we're providing this service within our ecosystem is because with Reaper, we're creating a demand, and then that demand is purchasing off market and it destroys it permanently. So, equal demand, lower supply, higher equilibrium. And so these are basic, basic business concepts, right? Now with Ascension, what we're actually fighting is stagnation. So you need velocity of money. So with Ascension, we are causing the purchase and distribution of an asset every 2 weeks. And the purchase and distribution is causing that velocity of money, and the demand is also increased for each of these assets. But more importantly, if, for example, Zoj or Schmeckles or Treasury or any of these other partners of ours do not currently have a very large market, their market is increasing with our market because every person holding Ascension can receive this token for nothing simply by setting that trust line. And so this assists those projects in growing their reach as we put them on this list. So it's an additional buy pressure on those assets, but it's also an additional adoption pressure on those assets. And so that's kind of the primary concept of Ascension, is that it's putting out a distribution system. So if we were to say, what is our core competency? What is it we actually do? We buy and distribute assets.
Wow. It's kind of like a network effect, right? With you're perpetuating that continuously for all these other assets. Kind of like the 43 of you that are watching. If you guys retweeted this out, we would have more people that would be able to learn about the Ascension Index project. So I would appreciate if you guys would do that, please.
Yeah. So now, so that's our phase 1 is basically all of the different assets being distributed. Phase 2 is bringing in those high liquidity layer 1 blockchains, the Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin. And the reason we call it high liquidity is because you're always going to be able to liquidate that asset into the buy order books because they're some of the largest assets out there. So that gives you an ability to receive these, follow their movements, and then to liquidate them at any time into XRP to your best benefit. Now, the third phase, what we brought in is gold and silver bullion. So we are currently already paying out AAU, which is Ascension Aurum, which AU is the periodic table Aurum description or Latin description of gold. So we are paying out gold tokens, which are backed 1-to-1 with real physical bullion, real physical gold. So 1 token of AAU is equal to 1 ounce of physical gold that we keep in our safe. And if you have that 1 full token, what you can do is you can burn that token to receive your receipt on the blockchain, which is visible to us. And then you would take that and connect to our Shopify with basically a paid in full receipt. And then that is only going to ask you for your shipping address and the shipping and handling and insurance for that physical gold. So now you can earn a full ounce of gold over whatever amount of time it takes you with your Ascension holdings. But then to actually get that physical bullion shipped to your door is going to cost you the shipping and handling and insurance, which could be as little as, $12 for most people inside the United States for a full ounce of gold.
Wow.
If there's any farmers out there listening right now, like he just gave you the play.
Yep.
Get the digital thing. It's time. He gave you where to go. Their Shopify. Show them the receipt on blockchain forever, by the way. And they'll ship you the gold coin that y'all love. Farmers of America, if you're listening, please rewind this, listen to what Patrick just said, and go and execute.
Yep.
Fantastic. Marcus Beeman, thank you for coming. He said he just finished the first one and he's glad to be witnessing a major milestone. Yes, me too, Marcus.
Thanks for joining us, Marcus. And so with the gold, we do that 1 ounce is 1 token of AAU. And with AAG, which is Argentum or silver, we do the exact same thing. So you can earn gold, you can earn silver, and we are looking at adding additional precious metals as we go here. It's pretty much a guarantee that we'll be doing that. But so we do have, and don't let anyone tell you differently, that there's not, tokenized assets on XRP Ledger, because we have right now tokenized gold, tokenized silver, commodities, which are completely non-taxable, by the way, in Texas, as it is legal tender. And it's also legal tender in most states in the United States have this either within their constitution or have recently passed laws that gold and silver are legal tender. So in that regard, it should not be taxed. And you have the ability to earn this passively simply by holding Ascension and having the AAU and AAG trust lines set.
That's incredible. That's incredible. That's very exciting.
It is. I have a numbers question. What's the do you happen to have a ratio off the top of your head? One full Ascension token. What would that adequate to in regards to earning gold? Is there a ratio or a payout frequency or something like that per se?
So now the frequency is every 2 weeks when we do a reaping or an Ascension event in this case.
Right.
However, you can also, if you do use StakeX, you can use StakeX with your Ascension and our Ascension pool. And in that, you can earn a daily payout from the StakeX pool. So that's, again, compounding, right? But now, as far as the amount you're going to receive, that's dependent largely on market value of Ascension. And then with how much funds are generated every 2 weeks, that determines the funds times the votes towards AAU or AAG, determines how much we're going to go out and purchase. We do purchase the physical bullion, and then we've shipped out the token through an airdrop to you. And again, all of our products are self-custody, so you are not giving up control of any funds. We don't hold anybody's funds. And you are in full ownership of your Ascension. You can sell at any time, come or go. We do not try to set market price. We do not hold any custody of anybody else's funds. We are simply executing a protocol.
Awesome.
So you actually you said 1 AAU equals 1 ounce of gold.
That's correct.
So if someone can purchase the AAU token through you, right?
So they don't purchase it from us. We don't sell it. What we do is we send it out through airdrops to Ascension holders. And if you purchased it off the DEX from another AAU holder, then regardless of the price of what it is out there on the DEX, which we do not control, If you got it for half the price of market spot price of an ounce of gold, then you just got the value of 1 ounce of gold for half price, and you could still redeem it for that 1 ounce of gold. We are only backing one AAU with 1 ounce of gold, but we are not determining the market value of AAU. That is determined by the market.
Yes.
So you actually have to hold sorry, Simon. You actually have to hold 1 ounce of gold for every AAU token that is
in circulation
earned to your holders of the Ascension token, right? That's correct? Okay. And so, I mean, again, I'm going to ask about the scale out of this, because you'd have to have a pretty large, secure facility, right? So, I mean, you're like, what you're telling me, man, here is that this is no little thing here that you got going on. This is like a big deal. All of these projects, but I mean, this is not a little feat that you're undertaking.
That's correct.
This is not kids' play. This ain't child's play.
Melissa,
right?
Just think about this just for a second. Patrick, last show and this show now, just made another reference about how he has a project that's cooking in the backfield about going to space.
I know.
Gold does not disintegrate in space. In fact, it thrives there. It's okay. So, like, yeah, I mean, he's got a safe place. He send it out there. We need it. We'll fly it right back.
Yep. Well, we plan on bringing more down than we put up there. But
perfect. Well, yeah, no, it's awesome. This is amazing. I mean, like, in there, man, I'm going to go back and make a short of this. You really highlighted a component that is misunderstood in the asset-backed discussion, right? Where you're saying market price is irrelevant. We're saying this is equal to this, right? This token is
exactly
equal to this one physical, right? And it's like Melissa asking her question there, just for clarification, really, again, brought home just that, no, dollars don't mean anything really here in what this is. To acquire it, you could go this way, you could go that way. And as you said, if you got it for half price per se, this token versus 1 ounce of gold, then, well, hallelujah, you just purchased a half ounce of gold, and now you get a full ounce because of the arbitrage there in the market. But the reality is that the token is worth 1 ounce of gold or silver, as you alluded to, and other precious metals coming out to a theater or store near you. A theater. Sorry, wrong show.
Before we move on from the mining, or you might be going into a deeper, Toasty wants to know, how is gold from space different than gold mined on Earth?
Yeah, so gold in space is often much more concentrated and much less diluted. So on Earth, we usually have 0.999 for our purity. 0.9999 with 4 nines is possible here on Earth, and you do see it. But you can get actually 100% pure gold in space. And that's because it's, of course, a very dense metal. And in space, you don't necessarily have that mixture of elements going on that you have down here on Earth. But I'm definitely getting more into that in a little bit here. So
I mean, even the fact of thinking like you're backing those 1-to-1, and then the fact that you're gonna be mining, like this is incredible. I'm gonna stop asking questions and let you move on with your next phase.
Yep. So that's a good question. But I will move on to phase 4 here, just so we can get to that fun stuff, the space mining and whatnot. So phase 4, now that we've got gold and silver bullion, what we want to bring in next, as far as asset distribution, is we want to bring in consumer goods. So when we say consumer goods, what we put on the white paper is homes and cars and electronics, right? So for a person who is new to this economy, and this is not a friendly economy to all the Zoomers and the millennials out there know very well that this is not their grandfather and grandmother's economy where you can work a single job and support a family of 10 and have an 8-bedroom house. Yeah, we're in an age where it's very difficult for a new entrant to the economy to even make ends meet. And so by holding Ascension, what we'll be able to do is create basically a fund for the individual that builds up, that gets them that first down payment on their house, or gets them credit towards a builder. Or it could get them credit towards a specific realty company. So we'll be partnering for phase 4 with multiple different industries and multiple different commercial companies. And we would be able to partner, for example, with Remax or Zillow or Realtor.com, and we would build up a credit as if it was kind of like earned points towards that purchase, where it's kind of like we're building you up a gift card balance. And then over time, you might be able to build up enough that you make your down payment, or it might end up being enough that you can buy an entire house outright. Now with cars, that of course goes to things like Tesla, Ford, BMW, Mercedes-Benz. We're going to be looking to partner directly with those companies to help you say, okay, I want to vote on this company, and I'm going to earn towards this company. And then you'll build up your balance towards that next car, towards your first car if you are perhaps a younger person. Now that's going to enable a lot of interesting things, and I don't anticipate these partners ever turning us down, because basically what we're saying is we want to build their customer base, and we want to give them money. We're buying the cars legitimately. So that is the sale pitch to them. Now it can also go into smaller things, electronics. How much difference do we make in a student's life in college if we're able to help them earn a new laptop? How much difference does it make if they get a new iPhone or a new Google Pixel Pro or a new Android? And even more exciting to me, honestly, is groceries. I want to be able to provide families, if we can provide a family of 4 an additional grocery cart every couple months, that can make a big difference in their lives. And that is something we'll be able to do, partnering with Kroger, with Fred Meyer, with HEB. And I'm probably missing a few. I know everyone has their favorites out there, but we'll be looking to partner with those different grocery outlets to provide that type of service. And again, it would build up a gift card balance, basically, and that balance would be usable by the customer with that partner. Now, I do want to clarify that between phase 3 and phase 4, we'll be launching the Ascension application. And in that application, you'll be able to, instead of receiving all 17 assets, plus, you're not going to want to buy every house on the market and every car from every manufacturer. Okay, I do, but you probably don't. So if you're just going to want a Ford, and that's what you want to earn towards, you'll be able to elect for all of your voting power to go towards your balance with Ford. And that is the only thing that your Ascension will provide you at that point once you designate. If you don't designate your voting power towards the different things or towards one thing, then you still get the full gamut towards you until you do actually narrow down what it is you would like to receive.
So this is the same token.
Correct.
That is, you can get the gold for.
Yep.
And and get this basket of 17 trickling in if you choose to do that. And as you expand your offerings, which is, so now you're talking like the gift card type balances, you're saying that the folks will be able to decide how they want to earn. So obviously you are expecting the earnings in the future to be much greater because than they are now, because I mean that's a lot of things, right, that they would be able to choose and earning simply by holding this token, correct?
That's correct. So essentially, Ascension itself will be an asset you hold to earn you assets. And it's actually a funny comparison that somebody came up with to me a little while ago. But if you're from my generation, you probably remember the Marlboro points you would get off cigarettes. And you could earn your gear based on these little strips of points, and you'd keep those, and you'd get, you know, a duffel bag or a golf set or whatever it was from Marlboro that they would send you, and it was usually branded and that kind of thing. And this is a very similar thing. Ascension is kind of like that, but you don't have to get cancer to do it.
Yeah.
Whew, man, that's good, because I was about scheming how I was going to have a conversation with my wife about going back on the on the cancer sticks again.
Yeah.
So you're saying, JT, he did not make the announcement reveal yet. So you did not miss it. he said he or she says, okay, cool, I walked away, so I'm paranoid. Doesn't want to miss the big reveal. So you said you're going to be working on something that's going to be built for the, I'm going to call them the end user. Would that be a good or token holder, end user? And that is going to be a way for to make it easier for them to make their choices, I presume. Is that what you're?
Correct. So it'll be a web application at first. We will eventually transition it to mobile applications for Android and iOS. But the web app, they'll be able to elect based on percentage. So they'll take their tokens and they'll designate up to 100% of their tokens towards specific things. Mm-hmm. And that means they're going to receive only those things instead of the full gamut of 17, or of course with additional partners. So if they just want to earn towards a house and that's the only thing they want, they'll of course receive more towards that house than if they had received the full basket of goods.
That's incredible. Mm-hmm. I want to work for you guys. So just putting the bug in your ear. When you're hiring, let me know, because I'm good to go. I'm like, I got goosebumps thinking about like what is being built here. And like, either you're so bold in your ideas, okay, or I mean, this is happening, man. This is so futuristic and forward thinking, and it seems so doable. And it's I mean, I'm like, this is happening. This is it. This is so cool.
And so the real idea here is to make difficult things easy, right? So we're making it accessible for you to earn assets in a way that isn't complicated. It's not like your typical index fund like the S&P 500 or NASDAQ, where you go and you buy it and you're just in a basket of things and then you can sell. This is, you can hold a thing and earn other things simply by holding it. And that is going to be necessary in our growing coming economy, especially as AI comes on for this current generation, the Generation Z, the millennials, and whatever comes after Gen Z. I don't even know what we call them, but it's going to be absolutely, Gen A. Is that how it's going to work?
Yeah.
Gen A.
Jenny.
Yeah, she was terrible. I don't think we need another Jenny. Super good. But anyway, so this is a way to make things accessible to the average person that is going to struggle their way through the workforce, or they're doing gig work through things like, Uber, or they're doing Airbnbs and things like that, and they're they're earning a non-standard income where they're not putting into a 401k, they're not putting into an IRA, which neither of those are recommended on my side anyways. I'm not a financial advisor, but I'm just going to let you know IRAs and 401ks are not to your benefit. They're to the hedge funds and to the senators in Congress. But so this is a way to help ordinary folks get the things that they're going to need in the future, and to become a part of a larger economy. And basically what we're doing for the companies and we're doing for the assets is we are aggregating funds, and then we are applying those funds to go out and purchase and provide buy pressure, and to fight that stagnation, to ensure that there is always that velocity of money. So now, of course, after we've gone after consumer goods, we're going to keep going. We're going to keep growing because we're aggressive and we've got a roadmap. So the next thing we'll be looking to bring in is stocks, bonds, futures, and equities. Now, stocks, bonds, futures, equities, quants, all these things, there does need to be a larger regulatory clarity in the United States that is not going to happen independently within Ascension Index or Ascension Mint. So that is something that we have to see, really a national movement towards regulating those things being on the blockchain. But once that happens, we would be able to take things like stocks and do it in a very similar manner to how we are doing gold or silver, where one stock of Tesla or one stock of Ripple equals one Ascension Ripple or one Ascension Tesla token. And those tokens can be issued out in very much the same way. And then it would be redeemable in very much the same way, where if you have your brokerage account, you would sign up into our application, link your brokerage account through a secure gateway, and say, okay, I want to burn this token. I want to receive the actual stock, send it over. And we would send it over. And it can be that simple. So once we get to that level of regulatory clarity, we will be able to bring in stocks, bonds, equities, futures, and you'll be able to earn shares of companies simply by holding Ascension token. So that is kind of a step that phase 5 is. It's completely dependent on external factors. It'll come when it comes, but it will come.
I want to go backwards.
Okay.
I want to go backwards. Well, only because I'm just thinking to myself, you're taking coupons and rewards to a whole nother level.
Yep.
And so I guess for the audience, so the way that my mind is working here, like and how you're explaining, when you're partnering with these companies, it's advantageous for them to do business with you because, like you said, you're bringing them business. Much like any rewards, like if you hold a membership somewhere, and you fly, go on the airplane and whatnot, and they're giving you miles, and you could buy this and you could buy that, and any company that's associated with that is going to get your business. Yeah, sure, you're getting some kickback from flying on Delta or whatever, but you're also spending money then at that company. So it's advantageous for them to do business with you and sign up, much like, I mean, there's the Fold card they have through the Fold card. I have it. I haven't been using it lately, but and I was earning some Bitcoin off of purchasing, and they are doing much the same thing with getting partnerships with these different companies, and depending on different times of the year, you're going to earn more percent towards your purchase, different times and stuff. So are you saying that to make those type of negotiations, there's not as strict of legal roadblocks to doing something like a reward system?
That's correct.
Okay.
Yep, that's correct. Because essentially what we're doing is a retail purchase using the funds we generated to action the utility. So that retail purchase, there is no regulatory hurdle there, of course.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, as far as the rewards that we're giving for the holding of Ascension, that is basically just a ledger of any sort of ledger. It's just bookkeeping. So we are saying that this account that is KYC AML, then it is on the blockchain that belongs to, Simon. This account that belongs to Simon happens to own this much of what we have purchased with American Airlines or with Ford or BMW or whoever it may be. So in that sense, there's very little regulatory hurdles for phase 4. We will be able to do that without anything necessarily happening in Congress or any of that.
Yeah, I mean, and even it's similar to a coupon or whatever. Like you earn so much stuff, they don't tax you on that. You get a free loaf of bread, or you get 25 cents off of this or that or whatever. So I mean that's fantastic. If you're earning these rewards to spend towards something, I like it.
Well, Melissa, the part here that's really, really neat, and I think it's just neat. I'm going to call it really, really neat. Okay. you, the end user, make a choice to burn a token, arguably throw it away, out in the universe, gone. Patrick and friends in turn say, hey, you know what? Here's a little here. We're going to do this for this account to acquire your brand new BMW. Since you burned that, we like that. Very advantageous. But there's no direct. It wasn't a deal. I gave you this, you gave me this. It is quite the opposite. Thus, being quite the opposite, no regulatory issue.
Yep. So, and this is basically a rewards program that could work with any business partner. We could go partner with Macy's or Best Buy or GameStop or really movie theaters. If we find a business that wants to partner with us and wants to be able to get rewards earned towards them, there's not a hurdle to setting that up.
That's incredible.
Yes. It's very, very awesome. Very, very, very awesome. It's very, it's most of you talk about coupon rewards. Coupons, if done right. I mean, there was those shows. I watched a little bit for about 3 months because I was fascinated with these people that spend hours and weeks cutting coupons, but yet then they go to the store on the special day and they get like $500 worth of stuff for nothing. This is just an evolution of that. And I don't mean just to belittle by any means. This is an evolution of that. And if I know you haven't gone down the DeFi road yet, Melissa, but when you start, I want you to come back and watch this video specifically. And you got goosies now. You will look you look like you shocked yourself and then sprayed yourself with Aquanet just for all your hairs to stand up, man. That's exactly what you're gonna look like. Yeah.
So this is
awesome.
This is one asset to earn all other assets, basically, and you'll be able to elect what you want, and that's great.
One ring to rule them all.
Yeah, exactly. And the reality is that once the government does catch wind of this and goes, oh, this is happening over here, they'll want their little piece, but they're gonna say this is so good for the economy, and what he's doing is so right for our GDP. We want this to continue. So they'll try to take their chunk of skin, but that doesn't mean that this will stop.
Right. Because this project right here, one project feeds a multitude of projects. So from a governmental tax-paying position, why go from one when your holdings are increased exponentially by the others? They'll just give you the old securities exchange Ethereum blessing or something like that. Yeah, that's absolutely amazing. So you said you had I know we got a few more here on the phase 5, so you got a few more to go. Yeah. But you mentioned liquidity pools or liquidity pools. Is there just one or is there a few?
So there's there's not a liquidity pool. There's a staking pool, but it's a decentralized
Okay.
staking where you can
Gotcha.
receive your rewards while self-custodying with
Okay.
our partner StakeX.
Okay. Will there be a liquidity pool or in
So
the
there is
future? Or is that
the
always-
the XLS 30 AMM is live for Ascension, and there is a liquidity pool that you can, of course, be in. Now, I will say the XRP ledger AMM is still very much in its development stage. It's not really as useful as it could be yet, but I think it will grow and it will come into its own eventually as well.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Tiara says government already knows.
That they do. Yeah,
they're watching you, Pat. I've been listening. I don't know if anybody watches the Y Files, but my son turned me onto this channel, the Y Files.
Great channel.
I love the guy. I just think he's great. But anyway, I've been watching a couple or listening to them anyway. And, I was listening to one and they were like, this guy's dead. Well, I'm like, oh God, Patrick,
you're talking about the free energy inventors and whatnot.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll there.
Yeah. And the fact that you're, what building and all this stuff, I'm like, you need some security, bro.
Yeah, big fan of the Y Files. I think he might be my favorite 3-letter agent.
Oh, really? Oh, he's a 3-letter agent, you think?
Oh, quite possibly.
Oh, darn it.
But all right. Well, so following on that, so I'll go to phase 6. So phase 6 is already active, which is Ascension Mint. That is us minting our own physical bullion with our own brand. So we have already done that on ascensionindex.com. There is a shop, and we right now only have a limited series of 200 coins that are minted that represent a Reaper coin. I do want to just solemnly say that our mint artist, Jim Forsyth, who's a previous congressman and libertarian assistant, and he was the founder of Sound Money. So he did pass in a accident a few months back. So that kind of slowed us down, and so with much respect to his family, but we had a slight setback, but we do have a mint, and we are going to bring a lot of that more in-house now and start doing some of that manufacturing and pressing to make our own branded Ascension tokens.
That's cool.
Very cool.
That's very cool.
So phase 7, following stocks and bonds and all that going live, we are looking at tokenizing things like art and wine. Now, why is someone's probably out there wondering, why is that different than consumer products, and how is art and wine different? Now, wine is
right.
Yep. So wine actually outperforms the majority of the market the majority of the time, as does art. They are some of the best hedges against a recession or against a depression. But they should also be tokenized in very different ways. So with wine, we're talking about the actual storage, and you'd be able to earn it similar to other products if you wanted the bottle actually shipped to you. But we'd also be investing or basically buying part in wineries to make sure that there's a sustainable tokenization of that wine. And because it's a product that expires, we can't necessarily say we're going to have 1 bottle of wine to every 1 ounce of token in circulation, because when one of those bottles of wine goes bad, that of course would depeg that token. So instead, it's going to be a token based off those wineries and production, and the ability to earn based off how many tokens you hold. You'd be able to get wine sent to you on a regular basis, and that wine is in itself a good store of value. Now with art, what we want to do is take things like the Mona Lisa or things like a Da Vinci or a Picasso, and we want to basically tokenize it where 1 token is that piece of art, We would hold it within our vault and collateralize it. And then we would be able to sell it in percentages of that single painting. So basically it would make it a ability to own 30% of a Picasso, or what these are basically called is a blue chip. So you have a blue chip in a Picasso, and when that painting's value goes up, for somebody to actually attain that physical painting, they have to buy 100% of that one token in circulation, which means that everybody else that holds a part of that token gets to set the price. And now we're basically doing a live bidding war for that art piece, where now everybody that owns any small percentage of it gets to bid up the price. And now we get to find a different valuation of art. So that is a whole other way to go about it. And I do view Ascension at some point having a headquarters that would be similar to a museum, something like a Louvre, where we would be displaying these pieces that are also tokenized and out in circulation for people to own and invest in.
That'd be so interesting. I'm just envisioning like like the Louvre or museum, right, or art gallery, right? And here's this beautiful painting. But then there's a little sign next to it. It says available tokens, like right next to it. And then you just QR code that if you want to. Oh, that's so cool. Anyway, sorry.
But you gotta buy the Picasso first, right?
That's a great question. So basically what would happen is that the original owner of the Picasso would say, I don't want to auction this with Sotheby's, because if I auction this with Sotheby's, I'm going to get 78 million. But if I put this with Ascension Index, and Ascension Index turns it into a token, instead of 78 million, we're going to do the initial token sale of this art piece, and probably raise quite a bit more than 78 million.
And they can have a minimum, like when you go to an auction, there's a minimum amount, and then
they get their guaranteed money.
Exactly.
Hands in the cookie jar.
Exactly. And instead of one person being able to buy it, it's not going to be just one high net worth individual. It's going to be 5,000 high net worth individuals or investors or hedge fund, people who say, we want to own a piece of this part of art. And so now they're going to be able to take that, and that original owner of the Picasso or the Mona Lisa or whatever it is potentially going to get a greater value for it.
Yeah. Rosemary wants to tokenize a racehorse. I think it would be so fun to hear it. Yeah.
With smart contracts, because of course a racehorse is something that expires, unfortunately. For the racehorse.
Good point. It would be fun though.
Yep, absolutely. Now the next thing we want to bring in after the art and wine, phase 8, would be to take that art and wine model and take it to national collateral. So national collateral in the form of national treasures. So when we ask how much is the Hope Diamond in the Queen's jewels worth, or now I guess the King's jewels, that sounds a little weird when I say it that way, but how much is the Hope Diamond worth? And we would say priceless. But how much does the Hope Diamond benefit the government of England and the British Crown? Now, of course, they're not going to want to give up their national treasures, but what we can do is still tokenize them on their behalf with that trusted relationship that we built by that point to put a valuation on it. And now we have people around the world actually trading that Hope Diamond. Now, odds are they will never, under any circumstances, be able to get 100% of that Hope Diamond token in order to receive the physical thing. However, we've now raised that money for that crown, and now that is money that can be put to use for that nation. Now, of course, the British Crown probably doesn't need that. They've got a lot of money. But smaller nations absolutely could use that. There are small nations with populations of 30,000 people like Palau. And Palau does not necessarily have a good way of raising funds to action things for their government. Yap, for instance. Yap in the Federated States of Micronesia uses what's called stone money, which was the oldest form of monetary currency. Basically, big limestone rings that were as big as like 8 feet round. It's really cool if you ever get the chance to go to Yap. But we would be able to tokenize those for them and distribute those and raise money for this very small island nation of Yap in the Federated States of Micronesia. And that gives these countries other opportunities.
Wow. I like it. I mean, again, you're thinking big, you're thinking outside the box. And this is all, I mean, this is all doable. You know, you create the team, the right people. I could just see this being a chain reaction, where more and more people, once they get it, it's like a snowball that's going to be like boom, 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 boom. It's incredible.
Oh yeah, this project specifically, that the scale you're going with, all the different hands you got in different cookie jars here, you know, which is beautiful. You're bringing into something. You're bringing something from the past that's been there, and that is a shared partnership in owning a thing, right? Only now your scale via technology, internet, etc., smartphones, the whole deal. I can find partners to buy, you know, a piece of artwork or national treasure or etc. Right? Tokenization, right? You know, it's hard for us for even you know, the just everyday Joe that you're really doing this for, is just the everyday person all across the world, whatever market you're in, right? We all have the same problems relatively to our market or our jurisdiction. But here's the thing, that now we can take our relatively insignificant earning, if you will, right, and put it into a thing, and now it can grow exponentially grow via the globe, because we are partners in a tokenization ship. I don't, that's probably the wrong word to even use there, but yes, you know, in tokenization, well, partnership plus tokenization, right? We're all, you know, almost like crowdfunding, but it's tokenized. I mean, same thing in conception, in the conceptual thought. But this is very, very beautiful. I mean, I can't wait. I'm definitely in for the next few. I'll tell you that right now. I'm not gonna mention those because I'd like you to hit the home run here at the end. But I definitely agree. This is I've never seen a project or heard about a project that's going this wide when tokenization is referenced, and the way that you're articulating it and explaining it. I know there's dipotors out there that are definitely beyond the 3 foot end of the pool right now, floating in the water going, oh my gosh, I can kick right now, dude. Tokenization. I got my tokenization floaties on right now. This is a good thing.
Exactly. So when people talk about tokenization, a lot of people don't know what that means yet. So this is what that means. This is tokenization. This is how it's going to work.
And it could be done with anything. I mean, you're naming up so many things.
Yes.
I want to know about the stick of butter, toasty.
So this is a little bit off topic, but I will say it if you want.
Go for it. It's dipito. We go off the rails anyway.
Flame toasty. So the stick of butter is an analogy about time. So time is not linear. It's what has happened in the past, what is in the present, and what is in the future is all a stick of butter, basically. If you were an electron living within that stick of butter, and the butter is frozen, it takes you 1 million years while that butter is frozen in Antarctica to get to the other side of the stick of butter. But that stick of butter is your lifespan. Your experience is the journey, not the butter itself, right? Now, if we put that butter in a microwave and it takes 30 seconds for that electron to get to the other side, it happened very quickly to us, but to the electron, the experience was still the distance of a stick of butter. Time is the distance traveled, but the beginning to the end was there the entire time, right? So basically it's a way to analyze time as a solid. It's permanent. What has been, what is, what will be is all a constant.
Interesting.
It's a stick of butter.
It's a
That's
stick
cool.
of butter.
That's
Really hates that one.
That's funny. Toasty, thank you for bringing that up.
Curly says, "Damn it, Toasty! I want some
More
butter on
butter.
my toast."
Yes, more butter.
Mo butter. Yeah, mo butter. We need mo butter right now. Mo butter. That's great.
So after the butter, now I think that's a good time to get into it. So now we've tokenized, we've decided we've got distribution of tokens on the XRP ledger. We've got high liquidity layer ones. We've added gold and silver. Then we go into our consumer products and our stocks, bonds, futures, and equities. So now we're paying out all these things. We've got an Ascension Mint, and our gold and our silver and our other precious metals are going to be all branded to Ascension. And then we're bringing in things like art and wine and more interesting tokenomic models. And we're collateralizing national treasures to make those countries money. And now what's the next evolution of this plan? So without further ado, I'm going to let Melissa share this one up. And I think she's going to be the one playing it so that hopefully we don't have any lag issues on the video.
Oh, you know what?
Or do you want me to try to do that? I did share it to you in the Google Drive, but if you want, I can bring it up.
Can you try to do it? I actually
No worries.
don't know. For some reason, I don't think I got that. I don't think I got it.
All right. Well, I am going to pull it up then. Let me find my share screen button somewhere behind my it's behind my webcam.
I have that problem too.
Yep.
Camera kind of just gets in the way of the web browser, microphone, a little bit of the screen. Totally relatable.
Yep. All right. So I got that one if you want to pull that one up.
All right. I'm going to add it to the stage and I'm going to make it big there.
Yep. So before I start this, I'll talk a little bit about it. So phase 9, once we've got through all these other things that we're distributing, the reality of resource and resource consumption of humanity is that there is a limited or a finite amount of resources here on Earth. And for that very reason, and for the purpose of backing currencies like fiat that right now are unbacked by precious metals and need to be at some point in the future, once again, backed by precious metals, we do have a design, and this will be the reveal of that design, in which we're presenting to go up to space and to mine the main belt between Mars and Jupiter, which is estimated to have between 800,000 to 10 million asteroids within that main belt. And just a single one of those asteroids on the small side, if you go look up the valuation of asteroids that has been estimated right now, even small asteroids like Ryugu are as much as $100 billion in value. Now, I estimate this project will cost roughly $25 billion to complete the manufacturing facility and Ascension Point itself, and to launch it into orbit in the Lagrange point, which is between Earth and the moon, basically where the pull of the two balances. And I'm not going to use the word gravity because gravity is fake and Einstein is a fraud, but that's a whole nother topic. But with this, we will be going after the main belt and mining those space-based resources. And the idea is we would bring this down to Earth, and as far as what is actually precious metal, and we would sell that not to the general market, but directly to governments for their fiat currency. Now, with their fiat currency, we would be using 50% of that income to go out and purchase things on behalf of Ascension holders based on the votes and send it to them, whereas 50% would be the income of the company. Now, what that does for the countries is it provides them a way to reback their fiat currency and to actually have value behind it again. And we are giving them a physical bullion asset, and we are getting paper garbage in return, basically. And that's fine by us because we're turning around to use that to go out and purchase and move assets for the Ascension holders. So it's not something that's this is not for a selfish endeavor to just make Ascension Index the richest company in the world. This is to enrich all of humanity that can participate in Ascension and then earn their car, earn their new laptop, earn their new house, and have a better quality of life. So this is a very egalitarian way of improving quality of life for all humanity. All they'll have to do is hold Ascension, and they reap the benefits. So I do really want to kind of dive into this design a little bit. And if you're here for Dip-a-Toe Crypto, we're about to dive into a whole nother world. So
you're going to be up to your knees, Dip-a-Toes. Just saying.
Yeah. No, we're definitely in the 12-foot section of the pool right now.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make this all big so you guys can really see it.
And I do want to kind of point out the dimensions here. That is a parking lot down there. And this is 600 meters in diameter by 800 meters at the long end with the office and construction section there. But this render, which was actually done by Taijin. Taijin is a gentleman out of UAE who does these for SpaceX. And he built this one for us. Now, the way that we'll be building this and launching this is really where it gets different and exciting and important. So we will be building the entire 500-meter diameter space station, Ascension Point, on the ground with a 250-meter void in the center and a 100-meter width. Now, to build on this scale, obviously, it's a mega project. It's a significant engineering project, and I'll just kind of pause it right here. But we are doing it at this scale because that is what must be done to achieve the end goal. So what stops most space-based companies right now from achieving their goals is what's called cost per kilogram to orbit. So even with SpaceX, with Falcon 9 and Starship, he's been able to bring cost per kilogram to orbit down to about $10,000 per kilogram to orbit. Now, that is not practical to go and build this up in space, and it's also not practical to go and mine space and industrialize space at $10,000 per kilogram to orbit. And I did say this should cost around $25 billion on completion. And to put that in perspective, there's a CubeSat that's about a 1 meter cube satellite that just did some tests for asteroid mining. It brought home about 1 ounce, and they spent $44 billion developing and deploying that single 1 meter cubic satellite. We're not going to do that because that's never going to get the job done. So by building at this scale, we're able to bring in helium and bring in hydrogen, potentially one or the other. Hydrogen has a slightly higher lifting capacity per cubic meter than helium, but helium is at about 11.68 kilograms per cubic meter. So we'll be able to fill Ascension Point itself with helium, as well as attaching it to these basically buoy balloons that are going to assist in the lifting, and the jellyfish, as I like to call it, on top. Now, we won't have to actually fire the rockets to launch it from the ground, and we don't necessarily need to worry too much about the balance. We'll be able to get up to roughly 40,000 feet before we'll be firing the boosters, and these displayed under here are actually Starship boosters to scale. So there's currently 12 displayed, and we may or may not use that as our lifting vehicle, but that is what we've currently calculated for. Now, one Starship booster should be able to lift in the vicinity of 150,000 tons. So 12 of them, of course, would put us around 15,000 tons. But then we've also lightened our load by filling Ascension Point with helium, as well as the balloons that would be on top of it. And that basically lightens the load of Ascension Point to, the bare minimum, so that we can lift a much heavier craft. And we're not bringing this up and down. We only need to put into space once. So this is a one-time launch situation. And then it is going to travel from low Earth orbit out into the Lagrange point, which is about 7/8 of the way between Earth to the moon. Now, the moon's pull or mass will help Ascension Point to be lighter. So we'll be launching this from near the equator, midday, when the moon is closest to it. So there'll, of course, be optimal launch conditions, and the moon will also assist in lifting Ascension Point away from the Earth. Once we get to that Lagrange point where the Earth and the moon have about equal pull towards each other, we'll release the boosters, and we'll only need auxiliary ionic thrusters to keep this station in place. Now, you'll notice we do have one side that is completely covered in solar panels. That side covered in solar panels will be tidally locked to the sun, so that as the Earth rotates around the sun, that face of Ascension Point will always be facing to the sun. And that will enable about 15 megawatts of electricity using current solar panels that are in existence. And that's more than enough to run the station, but we can also use this electricity and the solar heat and plasma coming from the sun to create basically our furnace. So we're going to be using the heat that's already there to melt down any of the materials that we're bringing to the station. So now it's going basically lock into place, and it's going to show you a little bit of a launch here. Now, I have since adjusted the design on these, so these are not quite what they'll look like, but the way we would do this is the probes that would be basically drones will be flying out to go past the main belt between Mars and Jupiter. So they'll be beyond the main belt looking at the sun. And as objects interrupt the light of the sun, we'll know that there's an asteroid or a meteor out there for us to go out and track. We'll adjust our speed, and we'll go out and tether it. So as we tether around it like this, the reason we're going to be doing it this way is you don't want to bring a bunch of drill bits and lasers out into space to do mining, because if you do drill bits, you're going to be burning through drill bits. You don't know what you're drilling into. And if you do lasers, you're sending shards of asteroids in every direction, and you don't necessarily want to chase them, and you hope nothing goes and hits the Earth. So instead, we're going to grip it, tether it, and tighten it with a windlass. And then with that, we're breaking the rock into smaller pieces until we're able to break it down less than 25 meters cubic dimensions. So the reason it's less than 25 meters cubic is because that is the estimated safe size for an asteroid to be able to burn up on entry into the Earth's atmosphere. So we are keeping safety in mind for what we're doing, so that we are not going to be potentially losing a rock or losing control of something that could cause, life-threatening situations on the Earth, even though Ascension Point will be quite a ways away from the Earth. Now, the difference in the design from these probes to what's in the video is that they'll basically be big garbage trucks. They'll be cylindrical, and we would be putting the broken pieces into the cylinder and using a garbage truck design pneumatic pressure to crush, as if you were putting it in a pneumatic press, the ore that has been added into the belly of the drone, so that we have broken it down to the smallest pieces possible, and so that if anything's going to explode, hopefully it explodes in the drone while it's away from the station. We would then deposit our ore into our furnace, and then using, again, the sun's solar plasma, we're able to melt this down into a liquid state, and we'll be able to use velocity of spin I'll stop sharing now. The velocity or the spin centrifugal force to separate out the different heavier metals from the lighter metals. And of course, gold, tungsten, platinum, palladium, silver, and things of that would separate and solidify as we cool it down in a centrifuge. And then we would be able to separate those metals and send it into a processing station where we would basically mint them in orbit, highly pure. And we would be able to accommodate up to 3 starships docking with the Ascension Point station at any one time, given the size and given the weight of Starship and what we would be putting into it, which is another way that the size of this this station helps us. So by having a very large station, we're now able to move around those very large and heavy mass precious metals within it, and we're able to bring down basically up to 100 tons of precious metals per starship with 3 docked, and we could potentially get on a rhythm where we're bringing down thousands of tons of precious metal per month. Now, to put that in perspective, the United States gold holdings, as in Fort Knox, only reportedly holds 8,700 tons of gold. So potentially within 1 year, we would be able to surpass the United States in total physical bullion brought down to Earth to reback those different currencies. And then with that, we would again be benefiting Ascension holders and benefiting the economy by buying up those different assets based on Ascension votes and distributing those assets out to holders. So everything that comes down would be immediately getting spent to benefit the GDP of the nations and to benefit the companies and to benefit the employment of millions of people.
Come on, Melissa. What do you got to say now?
I'm gonna do a rosemary and go sit in the corner and suck my thumb for a second. Holy cow. So, all right. Wow. Of course, I have lots of questions, Patrick.
Of course.
Number one, I mean, I have a lot. I mean, this is not something that just anybody can do. Again, this is, this is a very big intention, idea, and even getting as far as you are with it, even the model, the graphic, in having all these things come together. That can't be cheap to do. The thing itself is going to cost a lot of money. Where's that going to come from? And then I'm thinking of governments and space and rules and, how do you even how are you even allowed to do this? And what you're proposing seems extremely lucrative. And I would think that countries would try to want to stop you from doing this. You know what I mean?
So now the countries need this. America, most of all, with its debt, $34 trillion. But if we look at things, other countries, Japan's, of course, 268% debt to GDP ratio. And so countries don't have solutions right now. And this is a real solution that can bring them real backing. But more the forcing factor on the West, which is, of course, where we're based, is going to be the BRICS. So the BRICS is bringing in a competing global currency, and that is based on commodities such as gold, silver, and a basket of other commodities. So for the United States and for Western countries to compete and to participate in global trade, they do need the gold and the silver and all the other precious materials, and they don't want to take it out of their national reserves. They don't want to take it out of the ground. So if they can do this in a way that benefits them, and we are giving them those precious metals while also benefiting their economy by partnering with the corporations that they are making promises to themselves and they are investing in themselves, I don't foresee a problem working with the governments to get this done. Now, of course, I think I do have a few connections out there, and there's been some conversations, and I, of course, can't dive deep into that. But I am fully confident we can get this done, and with the government's cooperation, participation, endorsement, and probably financial help along the way. But that said, as far as how we're going to actually fund this, once we get into a place where futures are available on the blockchain, we will be able to basically sell futures with Ascension Point, where you would be matched to your price today, however much you've donated or bought in futures today. We would peg it against gold bullion to say, okay, you donated $1 million, so we're saying that's worth $1 million worth of gold bullion. Now, when Ascension Point starts bringing down funds, we're going to return 120% in gold bullion value at that day. So if you think that gold is going to appreciate, and if you think that we're going to accomplish this, then you will get a higher return once this is accomplished. So that's basically a futures contract. It is a security, but that is after that regulation comes along. So we'll be able to sell this, but I think having the partners and the adoption that we would have at that point, working with retail, working with corporations and consumer goods, I don't foresee it being a significant hurdle to raise $25 billion at that point.
Yeah. I guess when I was listening to the Y-Files, I can't remember the name of the company that builds those super secret machines that go into space and whatnot. I mean, this is not just any company that you're going to get to build. You'd have to use a company that's already went through all the regulation and guidelines and whatnot to build it, right? So, and there's not like there's a plethora of those out there.
Yeah, so actually the expense estimate of 25 billion does account for building these ourselves as Ascension Mint and Ascension Index. So we do plan on building these organically within the company. And of course, we're still going to have our manufacturing facility after the first one gets there. So it's not going to go to waste. And we are calling the manufacturing facility Ascension Coliseum. But the idea there is that it would be able to go right into manufacturing another one with lessons learned. And that second one we would begin manufacturing will probably have other use cases than simply mining. It may be a waypoint or a science station or something of that nature. Now, of course, because the station is as large as it is, we aren't actually going to need all of that space just for the mining operation. There's going to be significant square footage, if you will, to rent out.
He's going to lease it out. I was just going to say, you're going to lease it out. Here it comes. And you too.
Yep. So
yeah, I'm seeing the sales pitch. I love it.
So now different countries will be able to come up and put their science wings on their universities. Civilian corporations that want a part of this will have the ability to come up and occupy a portion of the station. Of course, every time a starship comes up and comes down, we would have a regular rhythm, probably with SpaceX as a key partner. And with that, we would be able to ferry people back and forth on a regular basis. So your trip might be a few days or a few weeks, or we'd probably have a limit of how long you'd be able to stay on the station before it becomes a health problem. But you would be able to work and live on the station, and that is the plan, to fully industrialize space. Now that is only phase 9, and there is a phase 10.
Oh God.
So uh, now phase 10 is still in this same frame of thought, but the only thing that we're going to bring down, because the cost per kilogram to orbit and the cost of those starships going back and forth to Ascension Point, the only things we're bringing down is the precious metals. So it's going to be the iridium, the platinum, the palladium, the gold, the silver, the things that are economically feasible, that bringing them down makes sense. Now, what we do with the rest of the material, because there's iron, there's nickel, there's cobalt, there's all kinds of other things, we're going to start warehousing those in prefab configurations, basically. So if you wanted to build something like, for instance, the Starship Enterprise, you don't want to build that on Earth because it's impractical, and the cost per kilogram to orbit and all of those things. But if you were going to build that, you would want to build it in orbit. And so going into space-based manufacturing is the next logical step. So we would be warehousing those different materials to basically make them available to other companies, like a Home Depot in space, where they say, okay, I want to build a Mars colony or a lunar colony. I need material for that. They're not going to want to ship all of that material from Earth up into space and move it over to the moon. We already have that material, and we can have it very cheaply and available already with zero gravity or zero weight on it. And they can simply bring it down to the moon or down to Mars, or they can manufacture in space. Manufacturing in space does provide many different scientific advantages, such as nanotubules can grow to much greater lengths. So carbon nanotubes. On Earth, we can only achieve a couple meters. In space, we could potentially achieve very vast lengths of carbon nanotubing. And that is what is ideal for things like space elevators. If you've ever heard of that concept, it's basically having a line or a rail, if you will, a railroad from the Earth to space, because a space-based platform connecting to an Earth-based platform that could then guide the trajectory of a craft along that rail. So that is a concept that scientifically should work, and it will.
I hope I'm alive to see this come into fruition.
Well, you know,
This is incredible, man.
And I already hear all the skeptics, right? They're all saying, no, this isn't going to happen, right? We went from Orville Wright and the Wright brothers to the space shuttle in literally 80 years. So we're not very far from this. This can happen in 20 years. It may happen in less. So I do think this is very realistic within our lifetime, and it's also very necessary. In order for us to colonize space, and we have to industrialize it, and to industrialize it, we can't be bringing everything from Earth up into orbit and doing it the hard way. We have to do it the right way, which is to do it at scale. And that's why we're building so ambitious and so big.
I'm pretty ignorant when it comes to the whole space thing, to be honest. Is there anything like this going on up there now? Like, so first of all, I'm thinking, all right, you're going to be building stuff up there and whatever. What it's not going to fall, because why? Like, what is protecting us from that big thing just coming down?
So this will actually be very far away from Earth. It will be 7/8 of the way to the moon in order to balance with the moon's gravity to Earth. So it's quite a distance, and it won't have any potential of falling down into Earth. From there, it would be more likely to hit the sun.
It's in a Goldilocks zone, equal whole. Like you just kind of.
So it's called the Lagrange point. So that's basically the balancing point between the two. Now, as far as, is there anything else like this going on currently? I would say yes, but not publicly. If you were going to be in the nuclear age and you were building a nuclear submarine that uses the nuclear reactor to turn hydrogen and oxygen into oxygen and fuel within a nuclear submarine as one does. And if you were going to try to create space-based platforms in, say, the 70s, 80s, you would have used the submarine force as an example of how to live in an alien environment. And you would have said, how do I get a big thing out into space? And you might have used a whole lot of helium, and you might have potentially become the largest purchaser of helium in the world. And you would probably bury that within some different federally funded research companies and non-profits like the IDA, and you'd have hedge funds with unexplainable revenue sources like Renaissance Technologies running it. And there'd be things like that out there.
Yeah, something like that. Probably.
But I don't know anything about that.
Wow.
Sorry, I went on a rant there.
No,
I love it. I can't wait to listen to this show back.
This is exciting for me because I'm keeping up and I'm watching Melissa go. Say what?
Yeah, no, my mind.
My blown.
What do you think? So what do you think about the Space Force then? Like, what do you think about? Yeah, let me just say that's a one concise question. What do you think about the Space Force, Patrick Riley?
So it was a matter of time, just like, the Air Force, of course, separated from the Army in the 50s, but that was a little less secretive. But it was a matter of time until we had a Space Force in order to change the budget and to make things a little bit less secret, and to enable the necessary growth that is coming with the economy. We're at a place in human development where we're going to space, and that's just kind of the reality. Like, with so many civilian companies now building rockets, Blue Origin, and you got SpaceX, and you've got competitors popping up in little countries like Kazakhstan and China, which are building rockets you never even hear about. And certain secrets can only be kept so long. And especially in the age of internet and everyone having the 8K camera on their phone, it's a matter of time before a Space Force has to have certain things public. I'll say it this way. In the mid 80s, when we had the Cold War going on with Russia, which Russia pretty much kicked our butts in everything in space up until the moon landing. But we had the Cold War with Russia, and we had nuclear powered everything. During that age, what are the chances that we would have stopped going to the moon in the height of the Cold War, as opposed to the chances that we would have simply stopped going publicly because we had already done things not so publicly that we were highly invested in?
Rosemary wants to know. She says, "Isn't part of the reason for Space Force that Air Force is compromised?"
They're all compromised.
Yeah, that's what somebody asked earlier. If you know, not this one. Question. Still nothing from Jed McCaleb and his space ventures.
So I have not spoken with Jed McCaleb or Astra yet. It's a little bit premature for that right now, but we certainly would be happy to work with him. This is not a selfish venture, and it's not about egotism. It's about human well-being and quality of life and how we move on from this place we're at right now. And to do that, it's going to take millions of people, and it's going to take a lot of talent and a lot of people with a lot of heart and willingness to work and to sacrifice. So I'd be more than happy to have the conversation.
Your project, your proposal of what you're doing just seems much different than, just sending a rocket to space, right? I mean, at least like that's what they tell us anyway. I think, what do you think about, Elon Musk and his Starlink providing the internet to, around the world in countries that didn't have access to that as a humanitarian thing. Are you buying it or are
It's
you digging it? Are you not digging it?
it's a Chinese farmer. So I think I
Oh.
might have told this story last time with the Chinese farmer, but basically, Chinese farmer has his horse run away, and his neighbors come up and they say, "Oh, that's terrible," and he says, "Maybe." The next day, that horse comes back, and it's got 5 wild horses with it, and all his neighbors come by and they say, "Oh, that's great," and he says, "Maybe." The next day, his son is breaking in the wild horses and falls off the horse and he breaks his leg. And all the neighbors come by and they say, "That's terrible." And he says, "Maybe." The day after, the conscripts come and they want to conscript his son into the army for a war, but they can't take him because he's got a broken leg. And all the neighbors say, "That's great." And the farmer says, "Maybe." So in this case, with Elon Musk and Starlink, will it provide knowledge, connectivity, and potential finance to everyone around the world? Yes. Is it a good thing? Maybe.
Yeah, good answer. Oh, you're something else, Patrick Riley. Wow. Interesting. Yeah, what you're proposing is much different than what we hear, on the TV and internet and what they're doing up there in space. I mean, this is a much different venture. Very exciting. I'm like, I don't even know what to say, you guys.
That's
Uh,
that's why I'm laughing. That's why I'm laughing. Your mind is still like soaking up what even half of what he has shared with all of his dipper-toers. I mean, like we dipped a toe in crypto, we dipped a toe in tokenization in crypto, we dipped a toe in into not outer space, into space. We dipped our toe in a little bit of science. We dipped our toe in a little bit of this. And we dipped our toe in a little bit of what's it called? Philosophy.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Cheap Suit has a question. He says, Patrick, define space, please.
Sure. So
Butter.
the legal definition of that space is 100 kilometers and above. And of course, that's wrong because nothing is ever that clean cut. Now, I would say that space is outside of the atmosphere of the Earth, but space is not in and of itself a vacuum as we are told. I don't think it's a vacuum at all. I think it's more of an ocean. And in that it's an ocean, there are micro universes being created and destroyed within an instant at any given time, and there is endless energy and ionization and other things in space that we cannot yet measure and we do not yet know. True wisdom is knowing that we know nothing, and truly our science is very premature and I would say infantile at this point in human history. And I think we have a very long ways to go to truly understand our universe in any meaningful way. But the technology that I'm releasing on June 8th at the Cape Canaveral Quantum Summit is going to change truly everything for humanity. And I can only tease so much.
I'm so excited. I want to say to the folks, last week I misspoke when I said the online tickets were free. They're actually, I think, $17.50 or something, or $17 per day. If anyone isn't able to make that conference that Patrick's going to be at in Cape Canaveral, you can still watch it live. You just have to buy a ticket, which is very reasonable. Boone's has a question. Boone Bo on E82. I was calling him Boone. It's probably wrong. So question for you. When we come back to Earth, when will we pick your passive start? I don't know what that means.
So pick your passive is basically the election for your
Mhm.
Ascension within the application to say you want to receive only one acid, or you can receive multiple acids based on your percentage allocation. So we have prioritized ARC Institute's application before Ascension's currently because it is the same dev team working on it. So after the ARC Institute application is live, it will probably be about 2 months before Ascension's application is live.
Mm.
And the reason we prioritize that is because we do have customers in the wait for phase 2 for ARC, and we don't want to keep them waiting any longer.
Yeah. We're going to go back to space for a second. Toasty wants to know, is there a pressure difference in space as Terrence Howard suggests?
Yes. So when I said earlier Einstein's a fraud and gravity is fake, I do actually mean that fully and literally, but Einstein basically plagiarized the majority of his works while working in the patent office. So he plagiarized off Poincare, Lorentz, and quite a few other notable scientists of the day. Einstein himself had very low mathematical capability and was not actually capable of producing the formulation of most of his theories. And the ones that he's most credited with, being relativity and in regards to gravity, have largely been proven wrong. He was also wrong when it came to quantum physics and Niels Bohr and quite a few other things, black holes, goes on and on. So Einstein is a poor example of a base of knowledge. So now, as far as what is the effect that we observe as gravity, which is not a force, basically what we're looking at is that we have an electric universe. And within that electric universe, the concentration of mass means a greater concentration of electrons. And anytime you have a concentration of electrons and you have electrons out there in the universe, you have basically an ocean of electricity. So that is a fluid if we're looking at simple fluid dynamics. Within that fluid dynamic, you have surface tension, but even within an ocean. So even underwater in the ocean, you have surface tension. And that is to say that the greatest concentration of electricity or electric potential is going to attract other electric potentials around it. And there is at some point a place where that electric charge going towards, say, the Earth, which is the concentration of mass and electrons, is going to dissipate, and then you would be effectively in space out of its gravity. But there isn't such a thing as gravity because you don't actually need to overcome gravity. If we were to do, superconductors over a magnetic strip or a Mobius strip, you only need to overcome electricity and magnetism. You don't need to overcome gravity to receive a lift or a lift capacity.
Wow. Let's see. Love how this community, it's not even when moon, it's when space station. That should catch on. Can we call Ascension Point Deep Space Nine? Deep Space Nine, you want that?
I do love Deep Space Nine, and that is my favorite Star Trek series, but I do think it's trademarked.
Amy Adams wants to know if you've reached out or spoken to Terrence Howard, because that could be interesting. And I agree. I would love to hear the two of you guys talk back and forth. Very interesting.
I haven't yet, but I do have a feeling that after June 8th, I'll have some very different kinds of people reaching out to me. And I think that may be something that gets arranged.
You got on the Dip a Toe show before you got all this, all these people. This is so cool. I love it. I love it so much. And I am so looking forward to seeing what you're going to be presenting. This is another I don't even Stoic Fulcrum. I hope I'm saying that right. Governmental law and property rights of space are what seem to be a hurdle that we will encounter. So I surmise we create our own society free of any earthly country or state government.
So, this is something, of course, I'd thought about, but I didn't necessarily plan on it being in the public domain just yet. But he's exactly right. There will come a time where Ascension Point is currently space is basically under maritime law, so it's not under any single government. But there will come a time where our contribution is such that we cannot be ruled under any one government, and we will need to declare some form of sovereignty as an independent financial state, similar to what the London area is, which is basically a London financial exclusion zone. There's also financial exclusion zones in New York, Washington, D.C., and other places in the world. So we will need something along those lines at some point in the future so that we can operate fairly and also independent of government. That said, there is a spot of land down here that I have my eye on, and it's not a minuscule spot. But I think that I would be able to terraform that spot and practice certain things in a way that would be of benefit to the current residents and humanity in general. And I think that it needs our help. So once we get to this level, there is something that I am planning along those lines. That would probably be well past phase 10, but it's definitely in the works.
Just incredible. What is the timeline for this whole building of this mining? What would you? I mean, this is quite an undertaking.
So I would expect between 10 to 20 years. Now, I'll say that, of course, we are a part of the XRP ledger community, and XRP price movement is going to affect our movement in time and when we can action these things. Now, if XRP goes to the price I'm predicting for this bull cycle, then that will be a significant head start. And I think that we'll be able to use that as kind of a catapult to get all of these things moving.
You didn't you say like $22 or something you were expecting this
that's
bull run?
Correct. And I would say it is a range. So 22 is kind of my conservative approach. Now the charts and TA would suggest as high as 290. I'm not saying it will get there, but that is what the chart reads.
I would agree with that.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean that would be pretty awesome.
Well, I mean,
this whole thing is just amazing. Like,
yes. Yeah, 10 years is doable. I do construction, so it's like, I'm just another worker bee on the job site per se. But being in the industry for 15 years, when you're talking about scale, I mean, you're talking a very big, Coliseum stadium rather. So I mean that engineering is already there. You just need to apply your different more sustainable materials, but that's already there, So I mean, 10 years, aside from money, actual production, start to finish and launch. Yeah, that's doable.
Exactly. So we're looking for around 1,600 acres, most likely in Texas, because the infrastructure already provides for it, as well as its location, the weather, and everything else. As well as ground condition and stability versus earthquakes, things of that nature. The Coliseum itself will actually be about 200 meters tall. So whereas Ascension Point is 100 meters thick, but within that 200 meters tall, there would be an elevator within the center to basically raise the station as we build it. So we can build it from the bottom up, or from the outside in, if that makes sense. But the the other things I would point out as far as the speed of development on this is that when we look at things like AI, we look at 3D printing technologies or you know, the differences in CNC right now. We look at Optimus Bot and robotics, automation. There's a lot of other technologies we can bring to bear that have never really truly been applied to any kind of mega project.
Right, mass production.
Exactly. So this is something that we can definitely incorporate those other technologies into as we're building it. And I do expect that planning alone will most likely be a 2-year endeavor, potentially more. But the actual execution of building, I think, would be about 5 years.
Wow. Man, this is a
Yeah.
lot. This is
It's about right.
I mean, I'm still back at the coupons, and you're like, I'm like, I just think, yeah, this is incredible.
See,
Can you,
Melissa? Go ahead.
Sorry.
No, go ahead. No, you go ahead. Go ahead. No,
because I'm gonna ask him just to go ahead and refresh for the folks that are interested, which I'm sure
refresh.
We have 100. We have 102 people listening now. If anyone is interested in getting into this project, once again, like, how do they go about getting this Ascension token? And then, you know, do once they purchase it, do you have the actual wallet? They're holding it in their XRP wallet, or how does that work?
So the way to acquire Ascension is you're going to need any XRP Ledger wallet, and then you would add the trust line. I recommend using xpmarket.com, XP, not XRP, so xpmarket.com. And then you would go find Ascension on the asset list, add the trust line after you've logged in with your XRP Ledger wallet, and then you can trade XRP for Ascension token. You'll also want to add all of the associated trust lines for reward tokens to make sure that you're receiving those every 2 weeks. And if you want to do the daily rewards, you'll want to go to StakeX website, and you would log into that with your XRP Ledger wallet and simply elect to maximize your returns based on your holdings. And then you would start to receive a daily rain reward from StakeX.
Do you have, and I haven't looked, so this might be not a great question, but do you have a one pager, a place where that has these steps with the links to the specific places where you're telling people that they can go and buy? You know, like we're doing these interviews and videos so people, they can listen to it and get a lot of their questions answered, hopefully. But is there a step-by-step guide somewhere specifically for these dip-a-toe type folks to be able to go back and look at it and know that they're doing the right things that they need to do?
Yep. So the starting point is ascensionindex.com. And once you get there, you're going to want to go to the RAIN tokens and go through setting your trust lines. Now, there is a little bit of a barrier to learning or barrier to execution before that. If you're not familiar with XRP or blockchain or the ledger at all, I do recommend JTXRP's videos out there on how to set up a Zaman wallet, as well as how to set up your Ascension and Reaper trust lines.
Oh, yes. I'm going to definitely look at all of those videos and then post them maybe like under, because I think that would be very helpful for people.
JT, he's up in the chat right here. JT, how'd you like coming on the show and doing a tutorial of this?
Oh, that'd be great.
Let's bring you on, man. We could just have like a 1-2 hour full deal. You know, Melissa, you could get your wallet ready and just do a run through, delete it, so nobody sees your stuff. But we could just do a run through. If JT XRP, if you're still in the house, let's bring JT on the show. We could just do a big run through, and
I like
get
it.
some more heads and get some more heads to that channel as well.
Sounds good.
I love it. JT is good at
love-
explaining, Rosemary says. Yeah.
Perfect.
Wow. I am so right now, what you got through the Ascension, you've got the rain because they're receiving the XRPL tokens. You've got the 17 different tokens that they earn, right?
Yep.
So that's live. The gold and silver bullion token, the 1-for-1, that's live right now, right?
Yeah.
They can do that with your Ascension. We're not to the homes, cars, and electronics at this point yet, right?
That's correct.
And then the stocks and bonds, and that's really going to come more when we have we'd have to have a futures contract and go through that whole thing. But you are doing the Ascension Mint right now, correct?
That's correct.
And so I just I didn't really ask this question, but so they become the official mint of precious metals. So is that meaning like I bought an XRP token, an XRP coin, silver, I think it was a silver coin, and it was minted with somebody's thing on it. I just thought it'd be kind of cool. Is that kind of a similar thing where you're minting the actual like Reaper token or the Ascension token? So it's an actual gold or silver coin with your logos on them. Is that what that means by minting it?
That's correct. So the other advantage to having our own mint is that not only is it branded for us, but we know that it's been melted down. We know that it's 100% pure. And although right now we are using JM Bullion, which is a very high quality dealer, to fill our gold and silver orders, there's still that small chance that a bar could have some amount of tungsten in it to fake it, and of course if we don't melt it down or drill through it, we're not going to know, right? So once we have our own mint, we'd be able to purchase shot instead of pre-minted bullion, and that's going to bring down our cost, which means we're getting more of it and distributing more of it. And then we're going to be making that shot into our own minted bars so that that way we can have full 100% control and confidence that they are absolutely backed.
So you're actually so in the future when you're mining in that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then you're saying that you'd be minting your own what you've mined, you mint your own. The people are buying the tokens, what I say, the AAU or the AAG, the 1-to-1. You're gonna then it's like 100% pure. And then also with the minting now with the logos and stuff, those could potentially appreciate in value also, because are you going to make like a limited quantity of those? You know what I mean, for collecting purposes or not?
Yep,
or not?
That's correct. So we already have a limited series one with only 200, and they are a numbered minted Reaper coin series that comes in a box and all that kind of stuff, and it's real nice and pirate like is kind of the idea. And those are for sale right now on our shop through Ascension Index.
Cool. So, and then of course we're skipping over at this point the art and wine, right? We're not active in that yet, but that's in the works, correct?
That's correct. And
but and what was that?
Oh, I just shared if you wanted to see what the current collectibles look like.
Oh yeah. Oh, let's yeah, nice.
Yep.
Very cool.
So those are available now.
Yeah, and that's something really that you would want you'd want to get early because if you only have a couple hundred of them in the longevity of this project that you're building, that's going to be something I can see in the future where people are like, oh, I wish I would have got one of those coins, back then,
Yeah.
right?
So they
Type of
are
thing.
all hand signed by yours truly, as well as our former CEO of Ascension. So it's yeah, it's all handmade and also minted by Jim Forsyth, which of course, it think it was actually, it's a little bit ironic, and I feel a little bit bad about it that the last thing the man ever minted was a Reaper coin, but that is what happened. And I hope he gets that joke in the afterlife.
Yeah, he probably if he was involved in your project with you, I bet you anything that he does get it.
I hope
And I
he's
bet
laughing at us from up there.
yeah,
Mhm.
I have a feeling that he's going to be rooting you on, in the afterlife for sure.
Yeah.
Toasty wants to know, did you give Brad a silver coin this year?
I did not actually get to talk to Brad this year. I did talk to David, but I did not give either of them a coin this time. I think actually Greg did give. I think he gave one of them an art coin. I don't remember which one.
Ah, yeah, I got my 30 seconds standing next to David Schwartz. I felt pretty cool, just saying. I got my photo taken with him. I like, it was an awesome meeting. I totally screwed up. Like I should have got my picture taken with you guys. I there's so many things I wish I would have done. But when you're in the moment,
Yeah.
there were just so many things happening
You
at the same time that I don't know. It was wild. It
you
was a
know,
wild
the
experience.
I'll comment on that also. I mean, trying to stay focused on content or snapshotting memories. Honestly, forget the tech, dude. The handshake, the hugs, the conversation. Because you didn't get those on video, man. Like they're locked in here.
Oh yeah.
The times you had, like you won't forget that. You definitely won't forget that. So
Yeah.
it was. By the way, you sing a killer song too. By the way, if you ever want to hear someone do some karaoke, Dancing Monkey metal version, I know somebody that can fulfill that.
You know,
Oh, we
That
do.
was awesome.
that wasn't actually the plan. So the story y'all don't know about that is a couple days earlier we went to that karaoke bar, and it was Cat's Meow Las Vegas for anyone that doesn't know.
Best
And,
place ever for karaoke.
and Melissa also has the eye of the tiger, just in case you didn't know.
Yep,
But,
absolutely. Yep.
so I went to do a song, and it was Adele, Fire in the Rain or something like that.
Mhm.
But, it was so loud in there, I couldn't hear myself, and I already lost my voice because what I was drinking was drying me out. So I was like, you know what? The only way I'm going to get through this is raspy. So I just turned in a metal song, and then I was still raspy on that day. So I was like, you know what? We're going to do
Yep.
death metal for Dance Monkey. And
I'm glad you said you couldn't hear yourself either, because I could not hear myself, and I'm like, I could be completely singing off key here. I don't know if I am. So I just went for it, and I'm like, yeah, I heard myself back and I was slightly off, and it's like everybody says I couldn't hear myself. It's like, no, chick, you just can't sing. But yeah, that was a really fun time. And if anybody does like to do karaoke, Gotta Be has it on Saturday nights. on X Spaces,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Patrick Riley's in there, and Rosemary and Toasty, and there's so many. Kelly's in there. It's a great time. I try to make it when I can, and I'm bummed because I've missed the past couple of times with you guys, but it's always a wonderful time. Listen, we have kept Patrick for 2.5 hours. Patrick, is there anything else that you want to share regarding Ascension or any other piece of information?
Yeah. So, there's crypto and there's meme coins and there's other things out there, and that's not what this is. This is really about a vision, and it's about making very physical changes in the way that humanity operates and lives. With Reaper, we're going after the debt and global debt, and with Ascension, we're going after the distribution of wealth, if you will. And we're trying to make that more fair and make it so that everyone has a fair chance at a higher quality of life and the ability to participate in really an egalitarian system where you get out of it what you put in. And so this is a vision. And if you like the vision, then things like price and other things shouldn't be the top of your mind. If you are part of our community, we're really all about where this is going as a society and where humanity is going. Some of the things that I'm putting out on June 8th here, I'm not patenting any of my designs, and I'm not trying to make a profit off these specific designs. I am putting these out open source, and I will be sharing my research and development of them open source so that anybody can replicate the designs and anybody can produce the designs to their own benefit. So I hope that will have a chaotic effect on the current world order, because I don't think the current world order serves the average person. So we're going to be making some very big changes in the very near future.
Sasha Riley says, very informative. Love it. Order some silver coins. They hold value. I agree, Sasha.
I think she just wants them out of the garage. Just kidding.
Yeah, that it is like nothing else I've seen people do. And the fact that you're putting your designs open source like that, like I said, I've been listening to the Wi-Files, and the folks that do the patents get those patents. You were talking about Einstein earlier and how he just so happened to work at the patent office. Well, what a coinky dink that was, huh? Right.
Well, so, and to clarify why I'm doing that, the patent is asking the government permission, and there is something called the Invention Secrecy Act of 1951, or Invention Security Act, which basically means that if you do patent it, the government can come in and shut you down and say, this is ours now because X, Y, and Z, and you go to jail if you even talk about it. Alternatively, they just kill you. And with what I'm releasing, it is already minted to 10 different blockchains within my dead drop. And the designs and blueprints for them are minted. And these will become fully public either June 8th or following my untimely demise. So with those out there, and with the wallet keys having been destroyed and the access burnt, I cannot take them down either. So what is done will not be undone.
Well played.
That's awesome. And again, I was just listening to that today, and I wrote it down somewhere in my plethora of notes that I have everywhere about that Secrecy Act, where they can take your patent and just can't use it. Oh, too bad. And then people just end up dying in that. And so that is a way of not only protecting yourself, but making it so they cannot they can't destroy it. They cannot keep it from the public. And once it's published to the blockchain like that, it's there forever, right?
Exactly. And unless they want to take down Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, Zenfin,
Right.
XRP Ledger, XLM, and I forget the rest of them, they would have to take down all of the blockchains in order to take this down. So we're going to see what it's worth to them.
Yeah. Darren Baxter wants to know when Ascension Coin NFT version number 2.
So that is dependent on us moving the minting operation in-house, because unfortunately our mint artist met an untimely demise himself. And so once we have the full functionality in-house, we'll be doing our second series with the Ascension coin.
JT said, I heard that NFTs don't store images on the blockchain itself, but reference metadata on centralized storage. Are the NFTs taking into account?
So that depends on which blockchain.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see if there's any other questions. Yeah, this whole thing is fantastic. I'm glad that we had this amount of time for you to go over it, because it's quite there's so many pieces to this. And then as it comes into fruition, of course we'll have to have more more discussions for people for it to unwind. But it is just it's incredible the vision that you have, and the fact that you're building something that's going to help other people, like genuinely help other people. That is what draws me to this. There's so many people that are making things, creating things so that they can make money for themselves. And you're building an ecosystem that is actually going to help anybody that participates in it. And that's pretty wonderful, really. So, I mean, bless you for that. It's so awesome, Patrick. I don't even know what to say. I'm like,
You're blown away. That's what you said. Like, I'm blown away. I'm blown away. That's what you say. Yeah, this endeavor. Actually, let me pause on the endeavor. One thing that I was grateful to receive in Vegas was the discussion about value, which we talked briefly last time that I was on for my little 15-minute blurb on the last show that you were here with us, Patrick. Sure. But also vision, the visionaries, and the foresight that a lot of individuals, at least within the XRP community, that I got the privilege to have discussions with, they have it. And it was great to talk about that, because for me, with that vision, the value comes with that discussion. It is an intricate, a cyclical partnership between the two, the value and the vision, or the foresight and the value. And it really, really, really helps those of us within the community, the cryptocurrency digital asset space, get beyond the illusion of price, and so for you to come on this show and again share with us your vision, your execution, where this is going, showing us your determination and the team that is behind you. That is, man, that'd be great to get them on here at the same time, because I mean, if one man or woman's vision is executed by by an epic team, as they say. It's very, very fascinating to me, and I'm so grateful that this is the discussion within this space now. That what real value is, right, and what we're trying to build. When visionaries talk about community or ecosystems, even, right, people that still are stuck on price. It's like, no, this price is there in some way, but it's way beyond price. It's way beyond what you have been sought to see or taught to see in your life, and that's solely based on some fictitious numerical value that's irrelevant.
Yeah.
And so thank you so very much for sharing this with us on the dip of toes. I mean, it was great to see Melissa's mind blown at multiple times in one show, and for her to spin her wheels a little bit in her thought process in the mud, because when she's get there, she's really seeing the value. When people, and I've been there, I like it. That's what's happening. Our mind is doing its own internal quantum leap. So I thank you for you sharing everything here with us today, and everybody in the comment section too. Lots of knowledge being shared.
We
there.
got Schmeckles XRPL.
And I love it. Yeah, dude. Okay. I love the name Schmeckles. I'm just gonna get a t-shirt somewhere, and I'm just get your hand off my Schmeckles or something. I love it. Every time I hear that name, I have to laugh, not in amusement, but enjoyment. I don't know what it is with the combination of words there.
I'm pretty sure he's got merch.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah, he probably does, right?
It's gonna be in a movie somewhere. Schmeckles. I can just Newman. It's good things. Melissa, how's your mind right now?
My mind is it's blown. I'm gonna listen back to this again, probably 2 or 3 times. Take notes. Like Rosemary said, we got to cut this down into several smaller segments. Sure. To be able to share, just little baby nugs for people, because there's a lot here, and yep. But boy, if we can just get a couple of people to give a little bit of this some attention, I can imagine that they'd be reacting like I am, where I'm just like, okay, it's just so much. But like I said, I'm very happy. I'm happy to know you. I'm impressed with your desire to help others, and your drive, and the way that you're just positive that it's going to happen, and that's exactly how things get done.
Yep. Determination.
And so I just think it's pretty darn cool. Patrick, thank you for coming on Dip a Toe and putting up with my questions. Coming on and doing your big reveal, and I can't wait to see what you're going to present on the 8th in Cape Canaveral, Florida.
Well,
we might not be able to get a hold of you after that.
If your mind is blown now, just wait.
I love a challenge of trying to keep up with other people's visions. Cool. I'm excited. I'm very, very excited for that. That'll be great. So, okay. So after June 8th, Patrick, before you
Yep.
go, after June 8th,
yep.
Are you and the team going to any other events this year?
So I'm going to have a lot of travel coming up, but not necessarily events yet. I do have some travel planned to Germany and El Salvador and India later in the year. So
wow,
cool. That's cool.
Holy smokes!
Totally jealous right now.
we gotta have you back to talk about what is the next one? Pillars, yes.
Yep. So Pillars is a pretty short one, but we could probably throw that in with box if you wanted.
Yeah,
Perfect.
pillars and box. Okay.
Mhm.
And
So we'll
for Box, I'd like you to have Kai as well because he's the CEO for Box. And for
Sure.
ARC Institute, of course, we have Greg Pruitt. So
Great. Yeah.
I don't want to step on their toes, and they're both very knowledgeable about what they're doing. So
Yep.
I'll try
Cool.
to take a back seat.
awesome. Well, if do you have any parting words for the audience? And thank you guys. 97 of you hung out with us for 2.5 hours, 2 hours and 40 minutes. Got any parting words, Patrick?
God bless.
I love it. I love it. You're giving the nanu.
Live long and prosper.
Live long and prosper, baby. Live long and prosper. I love it.
All right, you
Dip
guys.
Towers.
We will see you next time, next Wednesday. New showtime, 8 p.m. We love you all. Thank you again, Patrick. Guys, check out Reaper Financial. Check out Ascension Index. Read the white paper. It's pretty awesome. We'll see you next time.